Hello Y11, welcome to Monday's lesson. This week we are going to be focusing on paper 2, section A. I will be setting all 4 of the lessons for this week, and over the next 4 lessons we are going to work our way through a full section A of paper 2. We're going to look at questions 1 to 4 in detail and aim to produce top mark answers. Okay? By the end of today's lesson, we will remind ourselves of what is involved in paper 2, section A. We've been off for Christmas. It's always good to have a bit of a reminder. We're going to read through the sources and we're going to aim to answer question 1, okay? I have set that up as a separate quiz, which I will post a link to in Show My Homework. So when you get to the very end of both videos, all right, I do include the instructions there as well. Please go and complete the quiz as I discussed. The link will be posted on there. So, paper 2, what is it about? The aim of this paper is to develop students' insights into how writers have particular viewpoints and perspectives on issues or themes that are important to the way we think and live our lives. The paper will assess in the sequence, all right? When it says AO, that means assessment objective, AO1, AO2 and AO3 for reading in section A, and AO5 and AO6 for writing. Section A will be allocated 40 marks and section B will be allocated 40 marks to give an equal weighting to the reading and writing tasks. Right, this sort of stuff we know, we're just recapping. In section A, you will be asked to answer 4 questions. You will also be required to read 2 linked sources from different time periods and genres in order to consider how each presents a perspective or viewpoint to influence the reader. The sources for the reading questions will be non-fiction and literary non-fiction texts. They will be drawn from the 19th century and either the 20th or 21st century, depending on the time period assessed in paper 1 in each particular series. So one source will always be from the 19th century, the 1800s, and the other one will either be from the 20th century, the 1900s, or the 21st century, which is the 2000s. The combination selected will always provide students with an opportunity to consider viewpoints and perspectives over time. Okay, you're looking at how certain things were described, normally something. As we know, both sources have something in common. You're looking at how each of those things are described in different time periods. Choice of genre will include high-quality journalism, articles, reports, essays, travel writing, accounts, sketches, letters, diaries, autobiography, and biographical passages or other appropriate non-fiction and literary non-fiction forms. Remember, this is the non-fiction paper, okay? It's not, creative writing. This is real-life sort of non-fiction vocational writing. So the assessment objectives that you will be judged on, as I said, AO stands for assessment objective. AO1 there then, the bullet points are to identify and interpret explicit and implicit information and ideas, and you're also asked to select and synthesize evidence from different texts. Question 1 links to this assessment objective, because obviously in question 1 you're presented with 8 statements, you have to identify which ones are true and false. Okay, so there you're being asked to identify and interpret explicit and implicit information and ideas. And then question 2 links to both bullet points, okay, we are asked to summarize the differences between the 2 sources. You are being asked to identify and interpret explicit and implicit information and ideas. You're showing that you understand what's happening, okay? But then for question 2, you're also asked to select and synthesize evidence from different texts, okay? You have to draw evidence out to back up what you're saying. Assessment objective 2 asks you to explain, comment on, and analyse how writers use language and structure to achieve effects and influence readers using relevant subject terminology to support their views. And this one links to question 3. Question 3 will always ask you, how does the writer use language to describe something? Okay? So it comes down to that idea that is linked to language as the key word there. And assessment objective 3 assesses you on your ability to compare writers' ideas and perspectives, as well as how these are conveyed across 2 or more texts. That is the question where you're asked to compare the difference in the way the writer presents their ideas, attitudes, perspectives. One of those words will be used across the 2 different texts, okay? But today we are going to be starting with reading the sources and question 1. That is all today we'll be involved with. So that's the next thing we are going to do. And while we are reading, we must remember to make notes at the side of each paragraph that we can refer to later. We've done this previously. And the reason this is useful is, 1, it helps us gain an overview at a glance of what's happening in the text. Plus later on, when we ask questions about how is this described or how does this happen, rather than perhaps having to read back through the entire source to find the important piece of information, we can look back at our summary comments down the side, all right? And that should be able to help us pinpoint the exact paragraph or the exact area we need to be looking in for whatever it is we might need. Okay, so this video is going to stop here. You need to start the next video in order to begin reading the sources and go through that process. Okay, so stop this video now and move to the next one.